कलिका प्रेम रूपा प्रियंकरी नाम पारायण प्रीता नंदी विद्या नटेश्वरी.
Chitkala, Chit, Brahman, which is existence, knowledge, and bliss. Kala, part. Or Chitkala, the consciousness encased in the mind because it is a small part of that consciousness which has no vehicle, that is Brahman. The Bhagavad Gita says, "My part alone in the world are the eternal Jivas." The Padma Purana, while enumerating the different forms of Devi, says, "In the mind of all embodied souls resides the energy called Chitkala, germ of bliss. She is one portion of the bliss enjoyed by Jivas." The Shruti says, "Other beings live by part of this bliss," or it means the bud of Anandamaya sheath, in the form of affection, prema, affection or devotion, causing affection, delighting in the repetition of her names. From A to Ksha are her names. A is 1 and Ka and the rest are 35, in all 36. These 36 represent 36 years. When we add to each the 16 vowels, so many months are obtained. These are 576 and are the first letters. Again, add the 36 letters in the second place of each letter in order. Then the total names become 20,737. The Laghu Stuti confirms the above statement. The Devi Bhagavata Purana says, when the form A took Sha, the vowels are joined to the consonants. Countless names, O son of Raghu, are obtained. The repetition of these names in 5 ways is described in the Kadimata. By day, week, fortnight, month, and year, etc. Thus is the ceremony of the repetition of the names. So also the repetition of the Sahasranamam. Because according to the etymological meaning and the conventional meaning, the repetition of names means this 1,000 also. For there is a saying, whether one worships me or not, or repeats the mantra or not, he must repeat these 1,000 names always in order to please me. The signs of Nandi. The Vidya worshipped by Nandi, Nateshwari. She is the wife of dancer, the Nataraja of Chidambara. Basis of illusionary universe. She is the basis of illusionary universe, as mother of pearl is the basis of silver, illusionary perceived.
मिथ्या जगदधिष्ठाना मुक्तिदा मुक्तिरूपिणी लास्य प्रिया लयकरी लज्जारम्भादिवन्दिता.
For the Shrutis, Gauda Purana says, this duality is mere Maya, non-duality is the reality, the Brahma Upanishad. Here, there is no manifoldness whatever. The Devi Bhagavata Purana says, indeed, I am alone, all this. There is never any other, where the 3 evolutions are illusionary, or adhishta, basis, that is, in whom all are sustained, is Brahman, Ana, life. Her life is the Brahman, or Adhishtana, supported, really according to the doctrine of the Tantrikas, who hold that the universe is the manifestation of Brahman. The universe is real, because like the pot and clay, as the universe and Brahman are not different, when Brahman is real, the universe must necessarily be real, as it is accepted that difference along the created things alone is illusory. All the scriptures advocating the non-duality are right. As the difference is false, the relation of the supporter and the supported is also false. Such being the case, the theory of the Vedantins that the whole universe is illusory is absurd. For further details, refer to the Shambhavanada Kalpata. So, the appearance of difference in the universe is illusory. 27th verse divides 43 names. The giver of salvation. The Kurma Purana says, hence, one desirous of salvation should take refuge in Parvati, Parameshwari, the soul of all beings and of all Shiva. The Shiva Purana says, if one recites the name of the Supreme Lord, even unconsciously, Shiva gives him salvation. Why say more? The Brahma Purana also says, those who worship the Supreme Shakti, whether regularly or irregularly, are not entangled in samsara. There is no doubt they are the liberated souls. In the form of salvation, by destruction of avidya or by recovering the fifth state, one does not obtain the supreme object of human desire, that is salvation, but it should be said only when one remains in his own bliss. The real salvation comes to him. The Saura Samhita, chapter 14, says, I will now concisely declare the nature of the salvation by the knowledge of which supreme salvation is attained by all the embodied souls. It is said, knowledge is the means, then refuting that the knowledge is not the means, O learned, but is merely calling to remembrance. Again, knowledge is neither effect nor substance, etc. Refuting the theory that salvation is neither substance, quality, action, nor samanya, etc. Samavaya and abhava. Hence, the supreme salvation is becoming the absolute self. Thus, establishing the real doctrine, it concludes, hence supreme salvation is of the nature of the self, and this was revealed by avidya and again revealed by knowledge. Fond of dancing, lasya priya, causing absorption, laya kari. Laya, a peculiar state of mind, for it is said, laya is equal to 10 meditations. Laya also means a pause in the music. Shame, lajja. It is said, Devi who resides in all beings in the form of shame, adored by Rambha and others. Urvashi, Rambha, Shrilekha Bija. The rain of nectar falling in the forest fire of worldly existence.
भवदा वसुधा वृष्टिः पापारण्यदवानला दौर्भाग्यतूलवातूला जराध्वान्तरविप्रभा.
Or Bhava, Shiva, the gift. Vasu, wealth or jewel, the gift. Vrishti, shower or both. Thus, this name is to be also divided into three names as Bhavada, Vasudha, and Vrishti. That is, she is the bestower of the worldly enjoyment and salvation. The Rudrayamala and the Mangala Rajastava says, where there is worldly enjoyment, there is no salvation. Where there is salvation, there is no worldly enjoyment. To the best devotees of Sri Sundari, salvation and enjoyment are both in their hands. The forest fire consuming the forest of sin, Paparanya Davantala. The Brihadaranyarya Purana says, the supreme name of Ganga is the fire that consumes the forest of sin, because Ganga is the remover of the disease of samsara. Therefore, it should be sought with much effort. Or Dava means devotion, etc., which are the means of destroying sin. Ana, life energy, La, receive. That is, she reveals the actions which remove sin. The Brahma Purana says, the supreme expiation of all sins, whether committed knowingly or unknowingly, is said to be the remembrance of the feet of the Supreme Shakti. In another chapter, it is said, hear, O Devendra, this great supreme secret which immediately destroys all sin, possessed of devotion and faith. After bathing, stand in the water and repeat the Panchadashi mantra 1008 times. Thus, worshipping the Supreme Shakti, he is released from all sins. The gale blowing away misfortune like thistledown, literally tufted seeds of reed, or Vatula, certain good actions which make misfortune become as light as the thistledowns. The meaning is such, actions originate from her alone. The sunbeam, the darkness of decay, the moonbeams, the ocean of gold fortune, the cloud that nourishes the peacocks, which are the minds of her devotees.
भाग्याब्धि चन्द्रिका भक्तचित्तकेकि घना घना रोगपर्वतदम्भोलिर्मृत्युदारुकुठारिका.
Or Ghana, cloud, the deeds of Devi, Aghana, continual. Her life work is the spiritual nourishment for her devotees, the thunderbolt which shakes the mountain of the disease, the axe that cuts down the tree of death. Daru, according to Varuchi's system, means 28. Mrityu, literally death. Pains, that is, the 28 kinds of pains described before, as differentiated by energy, success, and elation. The Shruti says, to him the death is like pickle. The 8 names from 742 to 749 are described by the metaphor.
माहेश्वरी महाकाली महाग्रासा महाशना अपर्णा चण्डिका चण्डमुण्डा सुरनिषूदिनी.
Maheshwari, Mahakali, Maha, great, Kali, fate. She is called great because she rules over even death. The Mahakali is the deity worshipped at Ujjaini, or she is the wife of Mahakala. The great devourer, the Shruti says, of whom both Brahmana and Kshatriya are food. The great eater, Mahasana, or Mahat, because consuming both the animate and inanimate universe. Aparna, Apa, removing, Rna, debt. We said in our Devastava, when you have not discharged your debt to me, though I repeat your name, O Shiva, were you not ashamed to bear the name of Aparna, the discharger of debt? According to the Nirkuta, Parna, falling, Aparna, free from falling. O Aparna, without a leaf. The Kalika Purana says, she renounced even leaves as food when she was doing tapas. Hence, the daughter of Himavan is called by Devas Aparna, that is, daughter of Himavan. The same is repeated in the Brahma Purana. Chandika, the root Chandi, means anger. She becomes angry with those who are not her devotees. According to Devi Bhagavata Purana, a girl of 7 years of age is called Chandika, destroyer of Daityas, Chanda and Munda. Hence, she alone is to be called Chamunda. The Markandeya Purana says, because you captured the Daityas, Chanda and Munda, you shall be called Chamunda. But the Varaha Purana says, Devi struck the Daitya Ruru with her trident and cut off his head, and because she carried off the head, Munda, and trunk, Karman, she is called Chamunda. We find in the Amarna Kosha, Karnamati is called Chamunda, Charchika, Charmamunda.
क्षराक्षरात्मिका सर्वलोकेशी विश्वधारिणी त्रिवर्गधात्री सुभगा त्र्यम्बका त्रिगुणात्मिका.
Perishable and imperishable. Kshara, multiform. Akshara, syllables. Atma, her body. That is, she is one syllabled and also many syllabled. The Varaha Purana says, though Devi is all syllabled, yet she is called one syllabled. She is the ruler of the universe. She alone is all syllabled. Or Kshara is applied to all beings. Akshara to Kutastha. She is both. The Bharata says, being and non-being, Sat and Asat, are called Kshara and Akshara. The Devi Bhagavata Purana says, there are 3 forms of Vishnu. The Vishnu Bhagavata Purana says, there are 3 forms of Vishnu called Purushas, those who say The first is the creator of Mahat, the second is the mundane egg, the third is what resides in all beings. By knowing these, one is released. Ruler of all worlds, Sarva Lokeshi, supporter of the universe, giver of the three objects of desire, good fortune, Subhaga. According to Dhaumya, a girl of 5 years of age is called Subhaga. Bhaga means wealth, desire, magnanimity, strength, effort, fame, etc. Su, excellently, remain in her. The Vishwa says, Bhaga means dominion, wisdom, dispassion, womb, fame, strength, effort, desire, wealth, virtue, sun, and salvation. Bhaga, the sun, by her the sun is illuminated, because she resides in the sun and causes all its works. The Vishnu Purana says, the whole and the supreme energy of Vishnu, which is called the three Vedas, Rik, Yajus, and Saman, lightens the whole universe and destroys its iniquity. Wherever every month the sun exists, there is this energy of Vishnu, composed of the three Vedas. The Rik shines in the morning, the Yajus at the noon, Brihadratha and other portions of the Saman at the end of the day. Thus, the manifestation of the energy of Vishnu is threefold, known as Rik, Yajus, Saman. The energy of Vishnu ever abides in the sun. The threefold energy of Vishnu does not only exist in the sun, but is also manifest in Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra. Thus, there are three gods, or also the three Vedas. The sun, ever possessed with the energy of neither rises nor sets. In this way, the energy of Vishnu exists in the sun, encircled by seven troops, as a man nearing a mirror kept on a stand observes in it his own image. So the energy of Vishnu is never disjoined, but remains month by month in the sun which is there placed. The seven troops are Devas, Rishis, Gandharvas, Apsarasis, Yakshas, Sadhyas, and Rakshasas. The collective meaning of the above passage is the seven troops are the causes of the sun's monthly changes, but the energy, as she is the foundation of all, does not change. Subhaga may mean either the eight things used in the auspicious occasions, as the Padma Purana says: sugarcane, taruraja, the nishpava, and jeera seeds, the cow's milk with all its transformation, kusumbha, flowers and salt, or Devi herself. For the same, Padma Purana says, what else should not be one, whether a man or a woman, obtained by worshipping Uma with devotion, who is the conferrer of blessings to Devas and bestower of enjoyment and salvation on all humankind. Three-eyed, Triambaka. The Devi Purana says, the moon, the sun, and the fire are the three eyes of Devi. Hence, she is called by the sages three-eyed. 3. Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra. Amba, the mother, that is mother of Brahma, etc. Possessed of the three qualities. Trigunatmika. Her body is the equilibrium of the three qualities, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas.
स्वर्गापवर्गदा शुद्धा जपा पुष्पनिभाकृतिः ओजोवती द्युतिधरा यज्ञरूपा प्रियव्रता.
Bestower of heaven and salvation. The Shruti says, the happiness which is not interrupted by pain, now or in future, attained through desire, is called Swarga. This happiness is temporary. The happiness is salvation, is an eternal one. Pure, Shuddha, free from the stains of avidya, whose body is like the China rose. This name may be taken as a two, adding the syllable a before as Ajapa and Pushpani Bhakriti. Ajapa is a mantra and the description of its nature is given in the Dakshina Murtisam. Without repetition, japa, O Deveshi, that which brings to the practitioners of mantra the attainment, the result of the repetition, is called ajapa, which breaks as under the noose of the samsara. Pushpa, according to the Hemakosha, means the flowering season, chariot of Kubera, flower, and the beauty of the eyes, vitality. Ojas is explained as the eighth substance, dhatu, in the Vedic commentaries. Some explain it as the vitality of the senses. The Vishwa says, Ojas means light, the vitality of the substances, splendor, strength, and radiance. As she possesses all these things, she is called Ojovati, the light bearer. Sacrifice, Yagna Rupa. The Shruti says, Yagna means Vishnu, or the sacrifices form her body. Harivamsha and Padma Purana, when they speak of the Lord, say, Vedas are his feet, the sacrificial post his teeth, the oblation his hand, the pile of sacrificial fuel his face, the fire his tongue, the sacrificial rules his hair, the Brahmana his head, day and night his eyes, the Vedantas his ear ornaments, the sacrificial lid his mouth, the ghee his nose, the great sound of the salmon his voice. He is virtue and truth, good actions his moving to and fro. Penance, his fingernails, the sacrificial animals his knees, Audgatra his bowels, the Homa his organ of generation, the fruits his organs, Vayu his inner self, the mantras his hips, the Soma juice his blood, the Vedas his shoulder, oblation his smell, oblation to God Havya, and oblation to mains Kavya his speed, the space before the altar his body, worshipped by many vows, gift his heart, yogin, possessing great mantras, the great supplementary ceremonies, his lips and chin, the pravargya, hymn of Saman, his navel, the different meters his gate, the Guhyopanishad his seat, the shadow his wife, he is as high as the summit of the Meru. According to the Mukhyama Narayana Rahasya, Yagnarupa means the great sacrifice is worshipping one's own self with much devotion by perfumes, etc., which he cognizes by his own senses. The fond of vows, Priyavarta. She is fond of all the vows, even those which are made to other deities. The Bhavisyattara Purana says, He who makes a vow to any god or to goddess, all is for the delight of Shiva and Devi, who are the creators of the world. There is no difference here because the whole world is Shiva and Shakti, because Prayavarta also means the name of the king.
दुराराध्या दुरादर्शा पाटली कुसुमप्रिया महती मेरुनिलया मन्दार कुसुमप्रिया.
Difficult to worship, impossible to be worshipped by the fickle minded, difficult of control. It is said she is not to be attained by the fickle minded people, or dur, difficult, adharsha, controlling, that is, it is very difficult to perceive her. Fond of patali flowers. Patali, a red and white flower. Padma Purana says Shiva is fond of Bilva tree and Devi of Patala. The great, as she manifests in the form of the things, she is called Mahat. Shakapuni explains it is the Mahat by which all things are measured. Yashka explains it to be worshipped. Mahati means also the Veena of Narada. Residing on Meru, Meru Nilaya. It is described in the Tantra Raja in the 28th chapter thus. Now I shall describe to you the 16 Nitya deities which are the Lokas. After describing their world, with all its oceans and islands, it continues. In the midst of Meru, the great shining Lalita ever remains. Around it, the Meru, there are 14 continents up to the ocean where the other deities remain. Beyond them, in the last supreme ether, is the Chitras and other deities abode. This and other peculiarities are described in the above book, and those are to be known from a guru alone. Or Sri Chakra has three aspects: Prastaras, Bhumi, Kailasha, and Meru. When it is identified with the eight deities, namely Vashini, etc., it is the Bhupastara. When it is with the Matrika letters, it is the Kailasha, and the Meru when it is the 16 Nitya deities. Meru Nilaya means she abodes in the mental identification with the 16 Nitya deities. The mode of the meditation is given threefold in the three Samhitas of the Sanat Kumara, Sananda, and Vashishta, or Meru, the nine syllable mantra as described in the Jnananarnava, indicated by the following words: Bhumi, Chandra, Shiva, Maya, Shakti, Krishnadavan, Madana, Ardhachandra, and Bindu. Nilaya, the place wherefrom all other mantras arise, fond of Mandara flowers. Mandara, Devadaru of the Shvetarka tree.
वीराराध्या विराट्रूपा विरजा विश्वतोमुखी प्रत्यग्रूपा पराकाशा प्राणदा प्राणरूपिणी.
Worshipped by warriors. Viraharodhya. The characteristic of the Viras is given thus: one who enjoys, realizes the self, the remover of name, pain, brings about the dissolution of egoism and of what is opposed to the self, devoted to bravery. Veera Rupa, referred to in the name 256. Verse divides 48 names without passion, Viraja, V without Rajas, sin. Viraja is the preceding deity at the Utkalya Kshetra. The Brahma Purana says, at Viraja, the goddess is Viraja, established by Brahma. By seeing her, a mortal purifies as far as even 7 generations. Rajas also means light, water, and worlds. Facing every way, the Shruti says, having eyes and mouths on all sides, when a form is created by devotees through meditation, then alone does she become manifest, as the passages show. Having hands, feet on all sides, and eyes, mouths, and head everywhere. The other passages, such as he has no hand or feet, etc., speak in the real sense. Hence, there is no contradiction of the above passage. Interior, pratyagrupa, pratyak, intending inwards, the direction of the senses towards objects, is called bahirmukhatva and pranamukhatva. Their inward direction towards the self is called antarmukhatva and pratyanmukhatva. The Shruti says, the self existent made the senses, hence one sees externally but not internally. The meaning is that her nature is either prakakasha, because she is without quality, she is Parabrahma. The Chandogya Upanishad in the following passages means ether as Parabrahman. He said that is ether. Ether is the greatest of all things. This ether is the supreme rest. It is also declared in the Veda Sutra. The ether is Brahman on account of characteristic marks, that is, it does not mean the elemental form. The Kurma Purana says, whose supreme divine energy is called ether. Thus, she is the origin of the universe, namely one, all controlling Maheshwari, energy without beginning, called ether, as if shining in the heaven. The Parakasha is the supreme ether, as declared by the Shruti. He is established in the supreme ether. This is of two kinds, one in the universe and the other in the body. Here, Parakasha means the place of the manifestation of the Brahman. She is in that form. Chidgatkan Chandrika says, the fire which moves in the ether, residing between the sun and the moon, which are in the flame, is the supreme ether. There, O Mother, show me Shiva. The Swachanda Sangraha also says, above the forehead, there is a place called Dwadashanta, where the top of the skull ends and two fingers beyond that head. There is nothing what is called the supreme ether, or the ether beyond the seven occasions is called Parakasha. There Lalita abides in her 16th century. The Kalyamata says, the Krita year in each year, the 16 Nitya deities abide in a particular place. Thus, in the second year, by the time each deity dwell in the 16th year, Lalita, Gita, and other deities go. Thus, take a round. The meaning is there are 16 places, namely Miru, the seven continents, the seven oceans, and the Parakasha. These are also called Varshas. Of these, the first is the year of Kritya Yuga. In that year, the 16 Nitya deities, namely Lalita, Kameshwari, Bhagamalini, etc., to Chitra remain. In the second year, Lalita remains, or Paraka, a kind of expiation called Krichra, Asha, the object to be attained. The meaning is her path is only to be attained by penance, or Asha, to eat. That is, she is the enjoyer of the result produced from such penances. According to the Vishwa, Aka means sin and pain, Para, highest, and Asha, to consume. That is, she destroys sin and pain of her devotee. Parakasha may mean also without illustration, giver of life, pranada. Prana, the five kinds of vital breath, or the 11 senses, the, literally to destroy, to control. In the Veda Sutra, for the same reason, breath is Brahman. It is declared that the word breath of the Kautisha Upanishad denote Brahman. I am prana, I am consciousness. Worship me as the age of immortality, the life, prana rupini. Hence, prana means Brahman. Shruti also says, prana is Brahman, ka is Brahman, ether is Brahman, Manusmriti. The same Brahman some call fire, others Manu, others Prajapati, others Indra, others breath, and others Paramatman. Or, in the Nitya Trayi, the 16 Nitya deities are called pranas, etc. Because from the time of one respiration, the day, month, etc. are determined. Again, 22 and a half respirations make orderly the 12 zodiacal signs. By this and other passages, it is described to the zodiacal signs, the sun, the moon, and the rest, the respirations. According to this method, it is clear enough that Lalita also becomes breath, hence this name. Martanda Bhairava.
मार्ताण्डभैरवाराध्या मन्त्रिणी न्यस्तराज्यधू त्रिपुरेशि जयत्सेना निस्त्रैगुणपरापरा.
In the Sri Chakra, between 22nd and 23rd walls, there is the devotee of Devi named Martanda Bhairava, the lord of the teachers. Durvasa say in his Lastarna, in my heart I adore Martanda Bhairava, decked with the jeweled crown, sporting with his wife, Chavya, who is the energy which supplies light to the eye, or Shiva, in order to kill the Daitya, called Manimalla, mounted a horse and descended to earth, is called in the Maharashtra country by the name Mallari and also by the name Martanda Bhairava. The Tantra Chintamani also repeats the same. The worship of Devi performed by him, Shiva, is described in the Mallari Mahatmya or Martanda, the sun. The Skanda Purana says, because he was born from the inert egg, Mrita and Anda, he is called Martanda. Bhairava means Vatkuka and other different kinds. Concerning the worship of Devi by the sun, the Padma Purana says, the sun, after worshipping daily a jeweled image of Devi, obtained his pure divine lofty position. As regards the worship by Bhairava. The Kalika Purana describes it at length. Or Bhairava, womanhood, Bhiru, woman. The Markandeya Purana says, when you are remembered in the times of difficulty, you take away all fears of all the beings. Bhairava, according to the Shiva Sutra, effort is called Bhairava. It is the sun, Martanda, because it destroys the darkness of confusion, for Shiva Sutra says, by conquering confusion, by the expansion of the endless victory over innate knowledge. The Vatikakara explains, thus, confusion means darkness, that is inborn egoism. By overcoming this, the sun of effort is produced. Endless samskaras. Expansion means the expansion of the samskaras to the yogin, who thus understands victory means attainment of the inanimate knowledge. The meaning is Devi is to be attained by that rising sun like effort which is called Bhairava, who has entrusted her kingdom to Mantrini. Mantrini Shyamalamba. The Brahma Purana says, speaking about Rajashamala, the care of the dominion and of the Shaktis of Lalita, the supreme ruler, all are in the power of Mantrini or Mantrini, those who worship Devi by mantras or mantra is a pure thought because it has the quality of protecting the man during meditation. Those who possess this are called mantrins. Mantrini, a certain effort which leads them to the union with Bhagavati. In that effort depends the power of attaining universal dominion. The meaning is the attainment of unity by devotees and yogins depends upon Devi alone. The Shiva Sutras say, thought is mantra, effort is the means, knowledge is the body, and manifestation is the secret of the mantra. The holy Krishna Dasha explains the sutras as follows. Thought, by this, the supreme truth of the self is experienced. Thus, the thought is the experience of the grace of the manifested self. Thought is the mantra. The same experience is thought, secretly. That is Ishvara and one's own nature without distinction. Hence, it is called mantra. It is called mantra because through their teachers, by the manifested qualities of the self, meditated upon the complete egoism, Purnamata, and by the power of protecting through destruction of samsara, the man attains equal mindedness by divine experience through the mantra. The thought of the aspirant also is called mantra, for it has union with this quality, the effort of fixing the mind continuously on the mantra just said above, which has the quality of protecting the man during meditation, is called prayatna. Prayatna means internal agitation. This alone it means. Thus, the man who practices the mantra attains the unity with deity. The yogin who practices thus obtains the power of the mantra, which makes him forever continue meditation on the Purnamta, as said before. Vidya, the experience of the highest purity. Body, the divine hosts of words. Manifestation of the Purahamta in all directions. That is, the meditation of the mantras, which have the power of protecting one. Secret, that it is a secret to ordinary people. Kshemaraja also comments at length on the above sutras. Tripureshi, the deity of Sarvasa Paripuraka Chakra, is called Tripureshi. With victorious army, Jayatsena. Jayat refers to the conquest of Bandasura and others. Sena, her attendant, Shaktis, or Jayatsena, is the name of a king, devoid of the three qualities, superior and inferior. The Shruti says, Brahman is a servant, Brahman is ferry men, and Brahman is these gamblers, or para, apara, and parapara. Para, others, apara, the self, or para, foe, apara, friend. The Bhagavad Gita says, I have neither foe nor friend. Para, he who is far off, apara, he who is near. The Vishwa says, para means superior, enemy, distance. According to logic, the generality, samanya is threefold, namely para, apara, and parapara. Para and apara, these two forms of Brahman, the unconditioned and the conditioned. The Shruti says, "This is indeed, O Satyakama, Para and Apara." The Smriti also says, "Two Brahmans are to be known, one as Para and other as Apara." Para literally, posterior, quality, energy. Apara, the thing qualified, that is Shiva, who is anterior, by the relation of the equal essence. Shiva conjoined with Shakti only is called Parabrahman. In the Shruti, I approach the salutations of the Brahman, Shiva. The anterior of the two, Shiva, is declared as prior to Shakti. In other Shruti, this dawn posterior, the beloved of the heaven, Shakti is described as the next to Shiva. The dawn, the Shakti when she wanted to create, is praised as the dawn at the time of the beginning of creation. For further details, the reader is referred to Shiva Nandalahari or Para and Apara, the twofold ether or the twofold knowledge, as described in the Mandukya Upanishad. The Linga Purana also says the two kinds of knowledge should be known as Para Apara, Saman and Atharvan, which fulfills all objects Siksha, Kalpa, grammar, Nirkuta, meter, Jyotisha. Para is said to be the imperishable one, which is invisible, intangible, without family, caste, etc., uncovered. That is the self. That is the para, knowledge, and there is no other. Pranava is twofold, para and apara. The Sutta Samhita says the pranava is said to be twofold by dividing into para and apara. The para is the highest Brahman, characterized by consciousness, bliss, etc. Because the Supreme Brahman is naturally praised, Nava, much pra, the Apara Pranava is the word very pure, as it is the cause of the praise of the Brahman. It is called Pranava, or because it is the cause of obtaining the Supreme Brahman, or the twofold meaning of the scriptures. The same book says the meaning of the scriptures is divided into Para and Apara. Para means the Supreme, which is beyond. Apara is dharma, the means of obtaining the supreme, or in the Yoga Shastras, also knowledge is divided into three para, apara, and parapara. For it is said, knowledge is said to be threefold by the division of para, apara, and parapara. Of these, the first is the supreme knowledge and is the cause of cognizing the Lord, the bondage, and the self. The second, apara, knowledge is simply the cause of cognizing bondage. The parapara, knowledge, is just as the change of the sight between a man and a cat in the night. It does not distinguish the marks. Vilakshana, or the worship, is also of three kinds para, apara, and parapara. The Nitya Hridaya says, your worship described in the Nitya is declared to be of three kinds, O Gauri, para, apara, and parapara. The first is the remaining in the non duality, whatever method is practiced. The second is the worship by the means of the Sri Chakra, which I have performed. O Devi, full of wisdom. The third is the worship of all manifestations of her. Speech is twofold, para and apara. Again, apara is threefold, namely Pashyanti, etc., Madhyama and Vaikhari. Para and apara are the two states of consciousness. The first is the state common to all the three. The apara is threefold, namely waking state, etc., dreaming and sound sleep states. The Vijnana Bhairava Bhattaraka says, wherever the mind goes, whether externally or internally, there, O dear one, it is supreme. There is the para state on account of its all-pervading power. Homa is also twofold, para and apara. Again, apara homa is twofold, gross and subtle. The Swatantra Trayi says the fire in the Mula Dhara is the fountain of the ordinary gross homa. The subtle homa is the Prajna Hotra. Para homa is the state after the destruction of all dualistic interpretations respecting the known, the knower, and the knowledge. The para homa is said to be that which, being absorbed, does not arise again in the blaze of the great eternal fire of his own self, which burns forever without fuel. Para is a certain mantra which is included in the mantra Parayana. Devi is also threefold, Para, Apara, and Parapara. The Varaha Purana says, when speaking about the Trimurtis, the creative energy is said to be Para, which has a white color, Vaishnavi, which is red, and long-eyed is Apara. The Raudri is called Parapara. These three are attained by one who really knows Rudra. Parapara gives a 4-syllabled mantra. This, if added to the 15-syllabled, gives a 19-syllabled mantra. If added to the 16-syllabled, it gives a 20-syllabled mantra. Other meanings of the word Parapara may also be added.